And then toys, something positive for your dogs to do. Always want to do something positive with the dogs. The more, even with training, treats, you know, we do treats with training, but even like I know some trainers, they even just they reward them by giving them their toy. You know, because it's just they see that as positive. And that's the biggest thing, is everything to do with your dog is to be positive. You never want to put your hands on your dog or anything like that, because what that does is you have a submissive, scared dog. And no one likes a dog that runs away and does stuff like that. So, dogs on chains, that's what we talked about last time. One of my biggest things is, number one, it's illegal in Fulton County. Here's a dog that lives on a chain. I don't know where this dog is anymore because the owners wouldn't work with me. But you can see most of the chains that they're put on are like chains that you would actually pull a truck with, that are very, very heavy. And he does have a collar on, but the chain is also wrapped around his neck. And I think on this one there was a padlock. So that's extra weight. And you think, you know, dogs are built just like us. They have the vertebrae, and you have something heavy, and those chains are heavy. And then you add a padlock, padlocks are heavy, on your neck all the time, and they have to hold their, you know, we're upright where something rests on our shoulders. They're standing this way, so they constantly have this weight dangling and pulling their head down. Well, that can cause long-term effects to their neck and to their vertebrae and the muscles in their neck. So you could, down the road, your dog could have neurological issues because you had all this weight around its neck. So that's one thing I do like stressing with the chains. Chains, bad news. Yeah, do you have a question? Oh, I thought you had a question, sorry. What we do recommend, you know, not all of us have backyards where we can throw them in and it's fenced. If you have to let your dog out and you can't walk your dog all the time, you just want your dog to get out and get a little bit of sunshine, there are actual tethers that are actually built for dogs to be out in a runner, for them to get out, get a little bit of sunshine where they can actually be mobile and move. You can buy them. I get mine at Big Lots. You know, they're not expensive, like $10. But they're the kind that screw into the ground. It's nothing your dog should live on. But if your dog needs just to be outside for just a couple of hours so he can get some fresh air, you know, use the bathroom, do whatever he needs to do, those are built for dogs. It's a little tiny wire with like a rubbery plastic substance covering over it, so it's safe. It's not a harsh metal. It's not heavy. And it's got a little clip, just like a leash, and it clips right on. So there's no weight or added, you know, anything to the dog's neck, where then they can just do their little thing, and then you bring them back inside, or, you know, whatever the situation is that you have with the dog. But that's the big importance of having them on chains, and not only just the damage the chains can do to their necks, it causes aggression. Dogs usually that are on chains don't usually get the attention that they normally get, because they're just put back there. They might get dropped off some food and water. They're just back there. And those are most of the circumstances that I run into. So just imagine being chained to one spot, and you can move 3 feet in a circle 24/7. That would make you mad, nuts, crazy. So it does. It stirs them up. They get bored. So the aggression builds, and a lot of the other things with that, with them being on chains, not only with the aggression, and for their well-being and mental well-being, is if you have a dog that's on a chain, say you don't have a fenced-in yard, but there's stray dogs in the neighborhood. You say you got some mean dog that lives down the street. He got out. Well, he sees Bo chained up. He's going to go over there. Bo can't get away. So then there's a dog fight. And next thing you know, Bo's laying out on the chain dead or really, really injured. So it's little things like that that, you know, a lot of people don't think about. But they can't get away. You know, they can't escape from, you know, it's different when your dog's running. At least they could go try to hide somewhere or, you know, defend themselves in some way. But when they're on a chain, they can't do anything.
This picture is like, it's very sad, but it's one of my favorite because it depicts everything that we try to do. You can see the ribs.
Yeah, his spine was sticking out, his ribs. He was very, very skinny. He didn't have, you'll notice, There was no food or water bowls by his doghouse. And you can look inside of his doghouse. There's dirt. Nothing but dirt.
He's terrified. You can see the body language.
How he's all... Yes, he wouldn't come to me at all. He just sat there and growled and barked until I got down on my hands and knees with a bag of food, and like I'm doing there. And then he actually approached me because I had food, because he wasn't fed. So just chaining's just no good, you know. If you got to put them on, like I said, we do the runners, you know, or a fenced backyard, or even if you know, we like to keep them inside, but you know, not everyone, not all landlords and stuff like that let us have dogs inside. So if you can keep them inside, and if you don't have a fenced-in backyard, you can get one of the tether systems where they can get some sunshine and be able to run around for a little while, walking the dogs. You know, take them out in the neighborhood and get them to walk, get them socialized. Dogs love it. You know, it's not only great for you, but I mean, dogs love seeing a different environment, and it's stimulating. To stimulate a dog is so positive because it makes their brain work, and that's what they need. Dogs need a job, just like we need a job, something to do. They get bored, then they become destructive, can become aggressive and stuff like that. Never hitting your dog. Disciplining your dog should always be positive. When you put your hands on your dog, well, actually, before I go into that, here, for example, see this picture here? What do you guys see in that dog's body language?
Scared.
Yes.
Tail down, ears back and down. Eyes are covered. Eyes are...
Like he's trying to get away. And that's exactly what he was doing. And he's only 3 months old. 12 weeks old, that's it. He shouldn't be scared. He should be one of those crazy puppies that's running around like a nutcase, right? Petrified. He wanted out that door so bad he didn't want me to come anywhere near him. But the owner had been putting his hands on him. Anytime the dog, you know, all the puppies are going to potty in the house. Potty training, that's being a responsible owner. Well, they were just beating the crud out of him. And this is what happens. And so he's going to remember this, and he's going to stay a skittish, not very well socialized dog, because he's going to relate everything to people as bad. People are bad. That's what he's going to see. So this is someone that I had helped, and I actually went back. He's now 6 months old, a little bit better, and they're doing much better with positive training and reprimanding and stuff like that with him. But he still, you look at him, and he barks, and he runs up. When you got to go, you got to go. No. But one positive thing that I do always recommend when training your dog, instead of, you know, people hear people, oh, I don't use my hands, I use the newspaper. I was like, no, don't use anything. You don't want to hit your dog. What I recommend doing is a water bottle. Get a little squirt bottle. You can get it from the dollar store. Put that little sucker, twist it so it's on stream. And when they do something, you squirt them. You squirt them, and you say no. It doesn't hurt them. It just kind of shocks them. And most dogs are like, oh, I don't like that, because you want to squirt them kind of like in their face area. And they're like, I don't like it at all. Now, usually about after a week of doing that, all you have to do is show them the squirt bottle. You don't need to say no. And they stop doing it. That's what I do at home. I just always have a squirt bottle out on my table. So if anyone I just walk over and I just grab it, and they all look at me and they're all like, oh, we don't want any squirt. But it's just something that I use personally, just with my bag training background. There's millions of different trainings. But what I try to do with the people that usually are putting their hands on them, I want a quick fix for them, because I want to be an instant result, so they don't keep putting their hands on their dog, so we can fix the dog. And I've come that the water bottle's the cheapest and easiest method for them, instead of putting their hands on their dogs. Dog activities, really important. Like we were talking about stimulating your dog. You always want to stimulate your dog. And that also doing activities with your dog creates a tighter bond with you and your dog. When you have a tighter bond with your dog, there's nothing better than just, your dog worships the ground you walk on, and you can't wait to get home to see your dog. There's weight pull. And that's actually, there's 2 different methods of weight pull. It's where they actually put a harness that's actually fitted and padded. And there's like a wagon kind of system, and then there's a rail system that you put weights on it and they pull. And you call them and they come to you and they pull. And a lot of dogs just love it because it's a job. And they actually get to get down and be dirty and just act like dogs instead of, because a lot of dogs, you know, kept so foo-foo-y. Like I keep mine. You would never know that my dogs were really pit bulls because they're wussies. But Gage used to do, he's my old man, when I used to show him, we used to do weight pull with him, and he was a weight pull champion. And he would go from the confirmation ring, which you guys, have you guys seen Westminster? The dog shows that are on TV, where they got the ugly outfits and they're running around? Yeah. Well, I used to do that, but I didn't wear the ugly outfits. But I would go do that with him, and he'd prance around like the pretty boy. And then an hour later, we'd go over to the weight pool, which is in a different building with most of the dogs that do weight pull are more gamey dogs, because it's more of a working kind of dog thing. But I take him over there, and he'd go from being the prancing pretty boy of running all around to all of a sudden he's barking and he's a dog, and I'd be like, who is this? But he loved it. I wish he could still do it today, but he ended up hurting his knee and we had to retire him. But he loved it. All I had to do was show him the harness, and I've never seen a dog. You'd think I had a pound of cookies that I was getting ready to give him. That's how excited he got about it. Agility is another one, and that's where, you know, they run through the little beams, go through the hoses, and yeah, they do all that crazy stuff. It makes your dog think, and it's another thing that you bond with your dog because you're doing it with your dog. Obedience, that's kind of like with the training that you guys are doing, but then you take it a couple steps further where they can actually do obedience tricks, where you can actually go tell the dog, he'll be sitting at your side, go get left bone, and there'll be a bone to the left and to the right, and he will go because he knows which signal is which. Just really cool things that, you know, you're like, oh my God, my dog's so smart. And you really don't realize that, you know, dogs can do that, but they are that smart. They can with some work. Therapy dogs. Therapy dogs are fabulous. Most dogs that have gone through obedience training and get their canine good citizenship, they can then go on to therapy groups to get in a therapy. Sometimes there's a little bit of testing with the therapy groups, but they can go to old people's homes and visit with the older folks. They can go to children's hospitals, all sorts of different things where they visit and they just sit there calmly, and the children love, you know, the sick children love on them, or the older people. And you've got some of these people that are bedridden and they can't do anything. You know, they're so boring. Like, they've given up. You know, there's not a lot going on in their life anymore. You know, they don't have visitors all the time. But when you bring a dog in there and this dog is just sitting by them and they're just petting, the emotions that come over these people is just amazing. I mean, you see the sunshine come out in them. Just what dogs bring out in people is just, people just don't think about it. But it brings so much happiness, and that's something that you can do with your dog too, because you get to actually go and experience it because you're the handler of your dog. And it's very rewarding because you're not only are you doing something fun with your dog, but you're actually helping others, and others that, you know, need a boost. The sick kids in the hospital or the older people in their homes. Dock diving is another. That's where they actually jump and swim and see how far they can jump off the dock and dive. Those are pretty cool. That's not as physical with your dog, because your dog, you know, you just tell your dog to go off the thing and then he goes and does his own thing. But it's stimulating. Some, especially the water dogs, they love it. But there's lots of positive things you can do and fun things you can do with your dogs, you know, which a lot of people don't think about, other than just taking your dog for the walk or going to the dog park or just doing things like that, that benefit both you, your dog, and sometimes other people. You know, this is a reason that I come here, not only to educate you guys about dogs, pet care, and stuff like that, but I want you guys to take this education and this knowledge and let it sink in, and I want you guys to tell other people, because I'm only one person, you know, and there's only a few of us in my organization. There's a total of 5 of us. We like to educate breeders too, because not all dogs need to be bred. And if we can educate them too about the positives of how dogs need to be cared for properly, because not everyone cares for their dogs, even the breeders don't take care of the dogs properly, that we can make a difference there. The more people I got out helping, the more dogs that can be helped, the more residents, owners that can care for their dogs properly and keep their dogs and know what they're doing. It's just an all-around positive thing. But that's basically what Pitties in the City is all about.